Just fucking do it. Subscribe now. Yes, sir.
I didn't quite hear it properly. He said he was spinning a bunch of plates and it was getting really tough for him.
Because he's bored. He was doing all the work and the board was doing nothing. So instead of 6 plates, he was talking about the 6 board members, himself included. He was doing all the shit. But I mean, the other side of it, which I told him when he alluded to the conversation we had in my office, he's a detail freak. So that makes it even harder to delegate. The people that he has now are there because they add value. And as he alluded to a conversation he had with one of the board members, the board member had never been talked to that way. Well, I remember a board member in London a few years ago. 2 board members got up and left, resigned on the spot when I was screaming at him. One guy in, where was it? Dublin, Ireland, started crying, got up and left. See, right now, you'd get up and cry, not the board members. And, you chuckle about that, but it's not fucking funny. It's a sad commentary on manhood or womanhood. Is there such a thing as womanhood? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. See, you guys giggle too much. Giggling and laughing and smiling is a coping mechanism for being a cunt. It's not fucking funny. But he's that mind at the continuum. But I start screaming from the beginning. He has to get provoked. It's not really provoking, It's hardly, other than for me and a couple of guys like me, you're hardly provoked at a board meeting. Because they're all cunts. And as he said, he didn't use the word leadership, but it's leadership. He calls the chairman, tells the chairman what he wants, and then it's the chairman's job, if he wants to keep his job, to do whatever he deems necessary or requires of him. Just the opposite of how you run your lives. And the reason why I give you the backward bicycle, I should just send you the film on the backward bicycle and the 7 steps, and you pay me for that. Because if you cannot do the backward bicycle, you cannot succeed at this. It's like when I hurt myself a few weeks ago, and I couldn't, if you're right-handed and you can't use your right hand, you have no idea how debilitating it is. I had to relearn how to wipe my ass, because I never in my life wiped my ass with my left hand. And you just do it, but believe me, if you got to relearn it, and that's the closest I've come to the backward bicycle, but I didn't know how precious my fucking right hand was to me if you're right-handed. So, the backward bike, you've got to, it's called cognitive dissonance, that you've got to unwire everything. Now, some of you have to unwire 100%. Some of you only have to unwire 30%. But everybody, whether you've done a deal or not, if you want to hit the big time, I want to be fucking billionaire. Like you talk like you're retarded or you got palsy. You got to unwire. And the people that have to unwire 60, 70, 80%, you know who you are. I don't have to point you out. And the people that, have to unwire 10 or 20%, you may think, that you hope that you're in that category. In my particular case, I didn't have to unwire because from the time I was little, self-esteem is the first 7 or 8 years. And then I was always been gravitated towards, they used to call macho men, tough in business, not just in the street fights. I've always gravitated to those people, and they like me because I reminded them, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you got a question, sir.
So does he have a tough chairman? I guess all your chairmen would be tough, but is his chairman at his end?
Well, no. His chairman now is tough. But the chairman, the first guy, had his resume CV stretched from here to the castle. But he had been the head of this department. He had been this in government. He had been, but he wanted to be liked. They wanted to be liked. And I'm not using Trump in a positive sense. Again, full disclosure, I knew him a long time ago. But there's a lot of things you can call the former president. But wanting to be liked isn't one of them. And he does things sometimes, as I do, in spite to make sure that they're disliked. And when I not teach, but when I teach and when I talked at universities, the last one being Pennsylvania, Wharton, and Princeton in a few days, I say, at the end of this session, if you like me, I did something wrong. I flat-ass did something wrong. I fucked up. I didn't push enough of the right buttons, but now I've done it so much with universities. I know exactly which buttons to push because they're just, in a room of 400 students, you could have exactly 0 with any balls out of 400. Random theory says you got to have at least 8 or 9 because now universities attract cunts. Any other questions about Jason? Yes, sir.
So Jason mentions he's built a full-time M&A team. So does he bring DD in-house?
No. Having an M&A team doesn't mean they're doing all the due diligence because you still want a big 4 accountant to be responsible for the numbers and you still want big-time lawyers in case you have to sue somebody. But he now has a team that both worked on the IT and the radiology. Now, I mean, if you're an M&A guy or gal, you can work in any industry. And as he commented, one of the mistakes he made is the industry expert he brought in. You can bring in an industry expert that's an academician, or you can bring in an industry expert that's an M&A fucker. You don't want, maybe they were M&A at Goldman Sachs in healthcare for 25 years, and then they've been teaching at Ohio State for 10 years. Okay, that's it. But I mean, you don't want somebody that's just taught at Ohio State and never been out in the real world. Like University of Pennsylvania, a few years ago, finally started a class, I mentioned at the end of yesterday, in selling a business. It was selling an IT business by a PhD, CPA. They had never sold a business. He knew all the, and some people say I shamed Penn into it because I said there's no universities that have classes in buying a business, selling a business. Now there's 4 or 5 universities that have in their school of business, graduate school of business, how to buy a business, how to sell a business. Now, when I taught, the 1 year I taught, I was dealing with a database of the 700, when I kept track of those deals in those years, 700 deals that I had done. Not that some guy wrote in a book from University of Michigan. So you want people that have done deals. And when I first started the seminars, 28 and a half years ago, I'd say, who do you want? A person that has read 700 books or done 700 deals. It's because at that time, one of the top gurus had read 700 books. And now, if you have to even think about which one you pick, I mean, then you deserve to get fucked. Because there's no comparison. I'd take a guy that did 7 deals over somebody that had read 700 books. Because there's no comparison. And as he said, he didn't exactly say this, but he pivoted or changed direction 20 times, I think he said. Now, see, you'll be afraid. See, you will ride your deal like the Titanic, right down to the fucking bottom. And then when the banks think you're a fucking moron, the accountants think you're a fucking moron, the lawyers know you're a fucking moron, your wife has left you, then, maybe I should pivot. Mine has to just go 3 degrees below the waterline. I'm out of that motherfucker. And one time out of 100, I'll be wrong. You could have salvaged it. We're not in the turnaround or salvage business. That is not our model. Our model is buying revenue that has been de-risked already. That's it. And cash flow has to absolutely cover fucking debt service. Now he's done all these deals. He's never signed a personal guarantee. And that's the first thing you're going to do. Just like I took a shit this morning, I'll bet both of my balls on it. And you'll say, but is a euphemism for an excuse. We have people doing, as a Nelly, we got a black guy, we've got an Indian guy, we've got a fucking Afghan, we've got him, a white guy. No personal guarantees. So it's not like it's selected because of the color of your skin. But as he kind of alluded to, he didn't even finish the thought. And I actually lost the thought, but the holding your nerve, see, you want the banks down there, you would want them to like you. By definition, if the banks like you, they're squeezing something up the cheeks of your ass. If they like you. I can say with my hand where my heart's supposed to be. And 8 or 10 months ago, I put on the social media, because Sally had me scanned for dementia, all kind of shit, for my birthday. That's what I get for my birthday. And there's a thing there that I've never done a deal with anybody that liked me. Banking, accounting, law. I told you about the banker with sweat as he signed the signature because he was left-handed. And he says, Dan, you make the bank nervous. And I said in front of the bankers, well, unless I'm going to, it's $100 million, or I forget what the number was, and that I'd steal and go to Bolivia. There's no extradition to Bolivia, or at least it wasn't then. And they still gave me the money. You'd have flossed your teeth and been all pretty like you were going to the fucking a wedding. You have no idea when you're fearless how the world opens up. But fearless across the board. There's nobody in here that's fearless. I can list 100 things and almost all of you be afraid of all 100. Anything else about Jason? He's doing a terrific job. I'm real proud of him.
So he's aggressive with his board members, correct?
He's aggressive with everybody.
So I remember watching a lot of your tapes from back then. You said that's like, that dog doesn't hunt. Like, that's what you said. Like, being aggressive with the board members, some of them will get offended.
No. That dog doesn't hunt for everybody, is what I said. Because you don't do it. And then all of a sudden, and one of the biggest mistakes Sally said, and this is a long, long time ago, you can't try to be a mini-me. I've got 67 years of experience. I've been saying outrageous shit, but now his personality was already like mine. But if you can't try to be Jason. Remember I said the first or second day, you've got to find the way to do this with your own personality. Because you'll fail. If, assuming that your demeanor is how you talk and act in here, if you raise your voice at a board meeting, everybody just fucking throw you out the window. Yeah.
So being blunt.
Well, fine. The people in the UK that are considered Yorkshire people, which is where Sally's from, where they call what do you call it? Well, anyway, they're blunt and to the point. I'm sure there must be 1,000 people going to jail for hate crime now, because to say that you're fat now is a hate crime. In the UK, it's hate crime. That's how they talk down there. And now you can't say sweetie. Everybody's love. Everybody's sweetie. Hi, honey. The guy, how's it hanging? Those are all hate crimes now. I should be in jail for 10 million times because I've lived here almost 38 years. But that's how far we're fucked up. It's like when I said fuck it, Oxford. twice. If it's not your personality. But I mean, when I look at this board, there are 3 people that have personalities like mine. 3. And of the ones that I can't show you, which is about 5 times more than this, there's 5 people that have gunslinger, miners. I got along with the coal miners because coal miners swear a lot. So most of them are like you. 98% of the people that are high performance are introverts. But if you remember, I told you, if you can't do it, you better have somebody on the fucking board that can. How many times have I said that? Your challenge will be people like me will not be attracted to you to want to be on your motherfucking board. That's the real fucking challenge. How do I trick fuck the board that I have a pair? That's the real question. Remember you asked me what question? You don't ask any of the right questions. And the reason why you don't ask those questions, because you know down deep in the pit of your soul, that's not you. But it doesn't have to be you, but you got to find somebody that supports you, that won't cut your throat. And then it's a piece of cake. It's easy peasy. So I forget who said it. Don't hire people or don't attract people to the board that are like you. One of my kids during these webinars said that, and I keep telling you that. Even the most successful person in this room, if that's the limit of your goals, you should kill yourself. Metaphorically speaking, of course. I hate fucking putting that metaphoric shit, but it saves lawsuits. Saves lawsuits. You got to find somebody that's tough. And the Goomba brothers, remember Goomba brothers? Now, it's pretty easy to tell which one of those guys is the tough guy. But they've been the dynamic duo for, 25 years. Anything else about Jason? Okay, YouTubers.